Hello dear students, welcome to the English class. In this hour we will study about the remaining part of the lesson around a medicinal creeper written by Purnachandra Tejasvi. As we know, here Purnachandra Tejasvi is studying about a medicinal creeper which was shown by his servant Mara. And Mara is telling different kind of stories in related to that creeper. Mara said the first story that creeper was cursed by the sage, and when you are in the search of that creeper, it will not you unable to find that creeper in the forest. So if you see that creeper, suddenly you have to tie that creeper to the nearby tree. This is the first story told by Mara to the writer. After again he came up with the new story when writer was eager to know about this kind of herbs of the forest, and Mara came up with the second story that once he hurted his own hand with the sharp sickle when he was cutting a bamboo shoot for his house, and that wound was pressed with a nearby leaf from the nearby tree. And when they go to the next further treatment to the Dr. Whiteman at Hulihindalo, and he was surprised that there is no wound and there is no blood on his hand, and that doctor offered his whole estate to Mara. But both together they searched for whole day, but they never find any leaf, that any plant that resembles the same leaf which was pressed on his wound and bandaged. Okay, this was the second story. And the Mara said third story in related to his teeth. Mara lost all the teeth from the right side of his mouth. When the writer asked about his teeth, he started telling a new story about that. And he says they laid a trap in the forest. In the night, in the early morning, he went to take to his catch in that trap, but there is no rabbit walked inside that trap, so he wanted to return back to his home. But while coming back, he wanted to wash his face from the nearby stream, so he plucked one stick from the nearby plant and he started brushing with that stick. With the third and fourth time when he brushed, he found some sour taste in his mouth, and he threw it, and in order to wash his mouth he poured some water from the stream, and with the churning, when he spat it out, he saw all his teeth which were touched by that stick were trembled out. And he says this kind of mystification stories about and in related to his teeth. And this is the third story said by the Mara. Now the writer and Mara are doing their conversation in related to this story. Writer asking Mara that I want to see that plant which caused this effect on your teeth. So Mara, you just come along with me and show that plant. But Mara also don't know, and they are discussing about that plant. They are discussing about that stick, and Mara says, why can't I show you? I forgot about that plant. You only go and search, use all the sticks of the plant, and you will come to know which that stick has that effect. Like this, they are squabbling with each other. Mara and the writer were squabbling with each other. Now, dear students, we stopped here. Why are you asking to me? Then Mara totally refused to use. Mara asked the writer to use all the plants, but the writer said, Mara, you are lying. that by using that stick you lost your teeth. It is not possible. So you are lying here. You only come and you again try the sticks and we will find out which stick has that effect. Then that Mara says, if I stumbled with the stick that is going to kill me, then the narrator says, then why are you asking me to try? You are afraid that if you stumble, if you get a stick which is going to kill you, then you are asking me to use all the sticks of the forest from the plants. Then how? Because you are the one who is accusing me of lying. The writer, sir, you are the person who is telling that whatever the story I am telling about my teeth, that is I am lying. So you only confirm it with your own experience. Like that, Mara gave his reply. Suppose you come up to the one that will bring back your teeth. Mara, why you are thinking that if you try all the teeth of the forest, suppose you may get one stick like that, it is going to give all the teeth back. You may get like different stick also. So why don't you try? Like that, the writer suggesting Mara, I don't even want that. Mara says, I don't want to get back all the teeth from the right side of my mouth if I became young. So if when I get all my teeth back means again I will look like young person. Now without teeth I am looking like a aged person. If I get back all my teeth, again I will look like a young person. I will have to marry again. If I look young means I have to marry again. Let that be. But don't think that such a plant does not exist in our forest. Let that be. I don't want to get married again, so let it be like that. I don't want to try the plants, try the sticks from the forest. So, but the writer, sir, you don't think that there is no plant exists in this forest which has that kind of effect. Really I experienced that, and because of that stick I lost all my teeth. Such plants are existed in the forest. Like that, Mara is trying to give confirmation about that stick which harmed and which affected his teeth. He said and told me another story. Again he started telling one more story. That is, long ago, Mara and friend of his laid a trap and caught a barking deer. And, as they had to divide it equally between them, they took it near to the stream, skinned it, cleaned and divided the meat. They wrapped their portion in some leaves and brought them home. See, Mara started telling different story. When the writer is suspecting on his story related to the teeth, then Mara told, don't refuse and don't show your refusal on my words, because I am not lying here. Then he started giving the account of different story. That is, he says, once I and my friend laid a trap in the forest. In the morning, when we saw that we find the barking deer was catched. And both I and my friend took that barking deer to the nearby stream and we skinned it. We cleaned its skin and we divided the meat of that barking deer into 2 portions, and we wrapped that meat into big leaves with some leaves, and we brought that meat to the home to cook. Like that, he started telling a story. In Mara's house, they got ready to cook. When he brought that meat from the forest, Mara's wife is ready to cook that meat. They prepared the masala with spices, but the water to boil and opened the pocket to take out the meat. Surprise of surprises! Instead of the meat, there was a live wild buck. The moment it saw Mara, it jumped up and ran out of his house. When Mara was trying to catch it, as usual, Mara's wife ignorantly took the leaves and threw them into the fire. See, dear students, how that his imagination took that exaggeration here. Here, Mara came up with a different story. In that story, he was telling that already he skinned that barking deer, and that meat was divided into his friend and him. They wrapped that meat into leaves from the forest, and when they took that meat to home, and in his home his wife is ready to cook that meat, she kept water to boil on the stove, on the oven, and she prepared all the masalas in order to cook that meat. When she opened that parcel, that pocket of meat, she was surprised that instead of meat there was a live wild buck that died. That dead buck was now again, it is alive. And that moment when that wild buck saw that Mara, suddenly it jumps from her hand and it started running away from their house. But Mara tried to catch it. In this situation, Mara's wife ignorantly threw those leaves into the fire, into the oven. Okay, this story was told by the Mara in order to make the writer understand and to believe whatever his stories were. All his stories were not all his stories were true. He is not lying in front of the writer. When I heard this story, writer says, when I heard this story from the Mara, I was speechless, and I did not ask Mara for any elaboration or explanation, because this was the aid of his invention genius. See, he reached the height of his inventive genius. Now, when the writer hears this story from Mara, that writer becomes totally speechless. Why? Because it is his beyond of his imagination. Now this Mara reached the height of inventive geniusness. This is inventive. He only invented this kind of geniusness. So in this story, narrator didn't ask anything to Mara. It is no wonder that the white man of Hulihindalu was prepared to give away his entire estate in exchange for these wonder plants. Here, by hearing this story, the writer is thinking that no doubt these herbs are very much useful. They are having unique properties. So the doctor, the white man of Hulihindalu, is prepared and he is ready to give his entire estate in exchange of this kind of wonderful plants because of their wonderful properties. Then, how it has been a long time since I sold that estate, and Mara is also dead and gone. Now, say after this, and after many years, here the writer sold his estate also. That he sold his coffee estate also, and Mara also dead and gone. It is difficult to dismiss all of Mara's stories as bunkam. Bunkam means as lie one. See, some little detail remains to bother your conscience. You can't refuse all the stories of Maras are bunkam. Not true. Bunkam means not true. You can't refuse all Mara stories are as fake stories, false stories. There is something in those stories that giving some trouble to our conscience. Conscience means our knowledge, our thinking. Some little details remain. Something is there in his stories because these herbs are having unique properties. They are having some curing properties. Then the total disinterest that Mara show in trying to argue with us or convince us for that matter, to lie or tell the truth, continues to bother us. See, here I have to identify that Mara he used to tell us story in related to these herbs, but he never tries to convince us that whatever he is telling that is true, and he is going to leave the matter with to our conscience. To our conscience means thinking. He always leaving those matters to our thinking. We have to think about those herbs and plants. To lie or tell the truth continues to bother us. Whether he lied or whether he told truth, he is never tried to convince us, but he just told some stories to us. Okay, here. Then, after a long time, Mara's medicinal creeper was back in news. This time I saw Appanna tying it to nearby tree. I asked him whether he knew its uses. See, dear students, here now the situation is, see, already in the starting of the lesson, the writer says it took nearly 20 years to know about this medicinal creeper. Now what happened after this? Already the writer sold his estate. Mara is also dead and gone. Still now the writer is thinking about Mara's stories. Why? Because he is unable to refuse and neglect all his stories as they are totally wrong. They are totally false one. Something that writer is thinking that something is there, some truth and some genuinity is there in his stories. But whenever the writer asks anything about that stories, Mara is unable to explain more things about those plants and herbs. But he left all the things to the writer to think. So again after some years, that writer come with the different experience. Now after many years, now again the writer saw one more person called Appanna is tying that creeper to the nearby tree. So the writer come to Appanna and writer asked Appanna whether do you know for what purpose this creeper is used. Already many times the writer asked to Mara the curing properties of that creeper. ಆ ಒಂದು ಬಳ್ಳಿ ಯಾವ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗೆ ಮದ್ದಾಗಿದೆ, ಯಾವ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಯನ್ನು ಆ ಬಳ್ಳಿಯಿಂದ ಔಷಧಿಯಿಂದ ಗುಣಪಡಿಸಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಪೂರ್ಣಚಂದ್ರ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯವರು ಮಾರನನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದರು. ಮಾರನಿಗೂ ಅದರ ವಿಷಯದ ಕುರಿತು ಯಾವುದೇ ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಯಾರನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಆ ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರೀಪರ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಸರಿಯಾದ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಆ ಬಳ್ಳಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪೂರ್ಣಚಂದ್ರ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯವರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸರಿಯಾದ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಲವು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ನಂತರ ಈ ಅಪ್ಪಣ್ಣ ಕೂಡ ಅದೇ ಬಳ್ಳಿಯನ್ನು ಗಿಡಕ್ಕೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕೋದನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ಣಚಂದ್ರ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯವರು ನೋಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಅಪ್ಪಣ್ಣನನ್ನು ಕುರಿತು ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಅಪ್ಪಣ್ಣ ಒಂದು ಬಳ್ಳಿಯ ಒಂದು ಗುಣಪಡಿಸುವ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಮದ್ದಾಗಿ ಆ ಬಳ್ಳಿಯನ್ನು ಔಷಧಿಯಾಗಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸುವುದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಕುರಿತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ಣಚಂದ್ರನವರು ಅಪ್ಪಣ್ಣನನ್ನು ಕೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೀ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ನೋ, ಅಪ್ಪಣ್ಣ was also don't know about the curing properties of that medicinal creeper. I believe if you squeeze the juice of these leaves, milk becomes hard, he said. Aparna says, I don't know exactly that which disease is cured by this plant, but I know that if you squeeze the juice of these leaves into milk, milk will become hard. Then the writer is thinking, I thought that probably that leaf of this creeper must be sour. When you squeeze something sour into the milk, it spoils and curdles. See, here the writer is thinking that the juice of this leaf will be sour. ಹುಳಿ ಇರಬಹುದು. If you put something sour into the milk, that milk is going to spoil. ಹಾಲು ಒಡಿತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಕರ್ಡಲ್, ಮೊಸರಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ ಮೊಸರಾಗುವಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಪಣ್ಣ ಅದು ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಆಗುವಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿರಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೈಟರ್ ಭಾವಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಐ ಥಾಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಬೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಹಾರ್ಡನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್. ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ಪಣ್ಣ, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಸೀನ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್? ದೆನ್ writer asked Appanna, have you seen it how that milk is going to hard? Then that Appanna says, that is what people say. Where can I find milk for all such experiments? He replied, no sir, I never saw the hardening of the milk. Just I heard from the people, they used to say like this. But where can I find that much of milk to do such experiments? That Appanna ignorantly replied. Then, is there any basis for the stories that are spread about these plants and herbs? I wondered whether I should squeeze the leaves into milk and see what happens instead of criticizing others for not knowing. I thought it would be better to check it out on my own. See, here the writer is thinking that I think no one fully know about this creeper. This time, narrator wanted to do that experiment. He wanted to confirm himself. Why? Because no proper knowledge he was finding from the other people. In order to criticize others that they don't know about this creeper, he wanted to do that experience and he wanted to identify some curing properties of that creeper. So here the writer is ready to do that experiment which was told by the Appanna. Appanna said that if you squeeze the juice of these leaves, that milk will become hard. Juice into the milk, that milk will become hard. Now the writer is ready to do that experiment. So I plucked some leaves from the creeper and took them to my friend Chandru, who is a plant pathologist. Here the writer plucked some creeper's leaves and he took to his friend Chandru, and he is plant pathologist. Plant pathologist means one who study about plants. And the writer go to his friend Chandru, and they both wanted to do that experiment. See, I told him what I had heard about this plant. See, I explained everything to my friend Chandru, whatever I heard from Appanna. We decided to conduct the experiment and brought a liter of milk. I and my friend Chandru both decided to do that experiment. For that we brought one liter of milk. The other scientist friends laughed at us. Our scientist friends laughed at us. Just they are telling us, just you are wasting 1 liter of good milk. They said that we were wasting a liter of good milk listening to kind of cock and bull stories. By hearing the cock and bull stories of these rural people, just we are wasting 1 liter of good milk. All our scientist friends teased at us. But I and my friend Chandru decided to do that experiment. Once we had decided to play the fools, we couldn't care less about other laughing at us. See, now we wanted to become fools. It means now we wanted to do that experiment, so we will not listen to anyone, any laughings also. So we put the milk and leaves into a mixture and switched it on. See, in order to mix the juice with the milk, they put both milk into milk and the leaf, and they switched on the mixture. After they were thoroughly mixed, we poured it out into a vessel. When that leaves and the milk mixed thoroughly in that mixture, and we poured that mixture into the vessel. Vessel means bowl, part3. We watched for some time to see whether it would become curdle or remain as it was. We waited for some time. When we poured that mixture to the vessel, now we are waiting for some time whether that milk is going to curdle or remain as milk. Nothing happened for a couple of minutes. When we observed for a minute, for 1 or 2 minutes, nothing happened to that milk. Just as I decided that we had indeed wasted a liter of milk, I touched it again. So when we watched for 2 to 3 minutes, nothing happened to that mix. Still, they are milk only. When we decided that just indeed we wasted a liter of milk. After that, once I wanted to touch it. When I touched that milk again, it had become firm and rubbery. That milk in the vessel had become firm, and it has the texture like rubbery. When we inverted the vessel, the whole thing fell out like a molded cast. See, when we poured that vessel, ಆ ಪಾತ್ರೆನ ಬಾರಲು ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ಇಡೀ ಹಾಲಿನ ಮಿಶ್ರಣ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಲೈಕ್ ಮೋಲ್ಡೆಡ್ ಪೀಸ್, ಮೋಲ್ಡೆಡ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್, ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಒಂದು ವೆಸಲ್ನ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಮೋಲ್ಡ್ ಅದರಿಂದ ಕಿತ್ತಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮೂಡಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. So then, now the writer is, so then this creeper had some qualities. Now we understand that some good qualities or some curing qualities this creeper really has. Now it was our turn to wonder. Now we are surprised. But the problem was despite all of this, we didn't know which disease or diseases it cured. See, after this experiment, we are surprised that something is there in these leaves. But despite of this, we are unable to identify, we are unable to know properly that which kind of disease it is going to cure. Still we don't know about that which kind of disease it is going to cure. Though no one seems to know. I think not only us, no one in these localities know about these curing properties. Just like Mara, all and sundry used to go around tying this creeper to the nearest plant and muttering, "Stay here." I had never seen anyone actually go back to untie it and take it home for some ailments. Ailments means some disease or some problems. Here the writer is telling that not only us, many people also don't know about the curing properties of this creeper. Only I saw people tying this creeper to the tree and telling, "Lie here." But no one I saw going back to that tree in order to get that creeper's leaf or something for the disease. So here author is thinking that just all and sundry means other people, they are just believing that this is the medicinal creeper, but they don't know which disease it is going to cure. Okay, like this. Here writer is thinking and he is assuming about the medicinal creeper. Okay, dear students, now already we studied 3 stories by Mara. Now in this period we studied about the 4th story, that is Mara said to the writer, and here this story is about the wild buck. After that, the writer made an experiment with the creeper's leaves in order to confirm whether that creeper's leaves are having unique properties or not. Okay, dear students, we will stop here and remaining we will continue with the next lesson. Okay, thank you.